Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. In this video is to bring you a close look at the International Door Closers, part number 1805-BC in a DU finish. This is a fairly unique door closer in the fact that it's a size 5 door closer, which means it's for an unusually door. Probably not the practical closer that you're going to use in of instances, and we'll talk about where a 5 fits in later on down the road in this video. Back check closer, which means it will have the ability to handle an exterior opening that is on a door that swings out. Check is a separate independent valve that helps arrest the wild swinging open of a door. More about in a moment. So visually, let's go over the closer first. This is a dark DU colored door closer. The other common finish, naturally. This closer is going to have that incredibly common print on the location of the screw holes, which is 9/18 center line from here to here, and then 3/4 inch vertically. You have a modern type door closer that looks like this visually. From 10 feet away it looks like this. It's most likely 9 1/16. You need to measure your existing if you're doing a replacement. Order a closer, but it's probably 9 1/16. And that makes this a fit because it ought to fit back into your footprint, your existing footprint. Moving forward, we've got the main arm here. Very typical and then the forearm. You can obviously see how that's all going to go together. You got your shoe. And this closer, one nice thing that's nice about it is that it's trucked, meaning it's going to include the parallel arm bracket, which will allow it to install in 3 common ways, and we're going to discuss those 3 common ways in this video as well. To get that cap to close off the spindle, whatever side you end up knotting the arm to. And then finally, of course, you'll get all of the screws needed to do the common installation. Okay. Now, let's go over the specifications of this closer quickly. Okay, so what we have here is a size 5 closer, and that's going to be spring size for this installation. So a size 5 closer, to the installation instructions, which there are linked to down below, and then included, of course, with your package, they're going to tell you that a 5 size door closer is going to be specifically for a very certain size door, certain weight of door. There's a link below to a document called Product Catalog, which is really, it's 2 pages, and it's everything door closer in a very consolidated fashion. The selection chart, the size chart that we're referring to, page 2, and when you look at the size 5, it's telling you that it will handle an exterior that's between 42 and 48 inch that is 178 to 204 pounds in weight, so very heavy. Now a size 5 may not be that uncommon in the sense of installing it in a parallel arm fashion for a 40 door that swings out, or in that range. We'll talk further in the video about parallel arm mount versus the others and why therefore a size 5 might make sense. However, when you look at that chart, you can see that door weight and that door width range is very likely not is certainly the most common door. So a size 5, proceed cautiously. That's a large spring for relatively specific applications. Interior doors where you're mounting it on the pull side or a top jam mount, a size 3 is gonna work. Sometimes if you've got a little larger door, or if you're parallel arm mounting a standard size door, a size 4 would abundantly for that. Size 5 and size 6, those are very stiff springs on that. The rest of the catalog is going to talk to you about the fact that it's got a narrow design, and because of that small footprint, you ought to be able to install it in most applications on aluminum doors without the need of plate. Not always, but in lots of instances, because this is a relatively petite foot closer, you should be able to do that as well. Standard application will allow you to do regular arm. The standard packaging will allow you to do a regular arm, top jam mount, and then a parallel arm mount. 3 different ways. That's where it's called pack. When we get to the installation instructions, we'll go over that. You've got 2 adjustment valves for sweep, for latch, for latch and for sweep. And we'll define those when we get to the installation. Then you've got a back check, and that tells it's an exterior door because of the back check valve, which let's just talk about it now. Let's talk about valves. The latching valve is going to control that 0 to 10 degree. And then the sweep valve will control from about 10 degree to about 90 degree. And back check is going to pick up after that. You might have an exterior door that swings out. You want to have the door closer help prevent the wind grabbing the door out here and then pulling it open, damaging the door, the wall, the frame. It's dangerous, harming people that might be walking through there behind the door. And the back check valve helps retard that extreme movement or arrest the door from so far. You'll want that in all instances when you have an exterior door. And the fact that it's a size 5 could go hand in hand with back check. If you have an interior door, you do not need back check, however. Unless, of course, it's an interior vestibule door, I suppose. Have a very interesting condition where if the front and back door of the opening are open simultaneously, and then you've got, air pressure that races through the building, it might apply, but otherwise you won't need back check. So that's how valves roll. The 1800's available in your 3, 4, or 5 series. Those are the standards, and then you can add the back check to it. It's got a 5-year warranty, and it's grade 1 means it's passed the million cycle test, where it's performed successfully for at least 10 cycles. That makes it grade 1. That's tremendous. Barrier-free operation. That this is in compliance with ADA regulations in terms of it being found opening force required for a door closer. If you have bathroom doors or a public sort of that must comply with ADA standards, do not order a fixed spring door closer. Order one that is specifically multi-spring so that you can dial that in to the exact door condition, and then be sure that you have one that is listed as handicap compliant as well, because that force required. So you want to be sure that you're applying the right door closer for the right scenario. A multi is better because you can tune it in exactly based on whether it's going to be a pull side mount or a push side mount. That affects the set spring, and then of course ensuring that it's ADA compliant. Aluminum and bronze are the 2 available finishes on this door closer. Optional, you can do a hold open arm, you can do a slim or a full cover. You can actually get a plaster for this that will be a trim cover or one that's a little bit larger. Drop plates are available for those instances you have a glass condition and not enough top rail. Generally is why you would need that. Then you can order these with sex bolts in case you are doing through bolting it or sex bolting a door closer or any hardware is always superior to drilling and tapping a fire rated wood door, and it's got 0 screw withdrawal strength based on the door. You'll absolutely want to order sex bolts as an option. Moving to page 2 of the catalog talks about the 3 installation types, which we'll get to in a moment. The selection chart with options and accessories are down there and graphically shown, which you can also link to in our extended description down below, which is very handy. Installations, but first specifications. I'm not going to go over that, what it would look like in a blueprint sort of setting, a specification sort of setting that would go with the construction documents that would associate or that would be associated with a set of plans project. If you are a specifier, an architect, someone who wants to be able to explain clearly to another person that might be involved in the purchasing process or the quoting process, this is what I want, you'll use that specification language and put it in the construction documents. Installation instructions, they're included with the package, and this is really where the meat of this video is going to get. Installation instructions for common door closers like this have four, really, four. They've got the three sections on the three different types of mounting. You've got the summary section that basically says, here's a definition of the valves, which would, here is, if it's a multi-spring size unit, here's how many times you turn that spring to set it based on your door width and weight. And that's pretty much it. It will define the valves, how to turn based on your conditions, and a spring, and it'll define all of the valves. So generally, I think what you should do is look at the closer adjustment section and at least have an understanding of that. This is a fixed size 5, so there is no spring adjustment on this at all. But you will be able to look at the three valves, understand their definition, then adjust them accordingly. The important part is somewhere on here it will tell you to not turn out the valves more than 2 turns from where they are. Those valves will come out, the valve stems. And you don't want to get into a scenario where you loosen that valve stem so much and then door where the pressure of the fluid, the oil moving on the inside, forces that valve come out. If that comes out, you're going to get oil on yourself and the floor. The closer can repair it at that point, is just simply the bottom line. So do not turn them past 2. Read the installation instructions. I'm kind of going off memory on that. But in installing, you'll certainly bump into that data. Now, the 3 methods of installation. You have to choose one, is the bottom line. So how do you choose? Well, if this is an indoor, you're going to mount it on either, well, interior. If it's an interior door, you'll mount either the pull side of the door, the body will go on the door, and you're mounting it on the pull side. That's a regular arm mount. If it's an interior door, you can also mount it with the body on the push side. That's a parallel arm mount. You can also use parallel arm mount for the exterior door that swings out. If the body door and it's on the pull side, that's where you want it, that's regular arm. If the body is on the push side, mounted to the door and on the push side, that's a parallel arm. There's a third way, less common but unseen. It's called the top jam mount, where you mount the body to the header of the push side of the opening. That you'll use on doors that swing out. So if you've got exterior doors that swing out, your choices are either top jam or parallel arm. If they're interior, you can do it on either side. You just have to pick. The best way to go is, there is no best way to go. The best way to go is what suits the condition architecturally. If it is a restaurant, pair of bathroom doors, put it regular arm mount. Put the body on the inside of the bathroom so you don't see it. The only with that is you'll want to be sure that if there's a perpendicular wall right where that door swings, and in bathrooms there very often are, that body's going to be here. You're going to want to make sure the body doesn't bump into that perpendicular wall. I've seen that in the past where the closure actually touches the wall. Be cognizant of that. If the body's going to conflict with construction, you'll have to put it on the parallel arm side or on the push side with the body on the door itself. Exterior doors that swing out, you can top jam mount that. Certainly you can, and that'd be an effect to do that as well. The only issue with that might be degree of opening. You'll want to check the opening that can be permitted. You might want it to swing well further past than a top jam can handle. They're not giving you here is what they're not giving you here is data on degree of opening, and with fixed spring closer you're going to be limited in terms of the potential for degree of. Let's study that for a moment. So the installation instructions that are included with the closer itself do not give you mounting dimensions based on a different degree of opening. However, the installation instructions that we have already included here, there's two sets. There's two different versions. There's the one that with the closer than the one from the factory. And a top jam mount, well, a mount will allow you to get to 180 degrees, so that's not trouble at all. No, that is you're not going to get quite to 180 degree. That would be only by chance, because of how that arm is going to mount. Point being is, once you've determined the method of mount that best suits your requirements, then look to install the door closer body. In essence, of that first hole, let's say the hinge is here, the distance from the first hole to that hinge is related to the degree of opening that you can achieve. The closer the body is to the hinge pin, the further open the door will go. The chart that's there for the top jam mount that's there, and the parallel arm mount, that's all listed there. And you can see that for doors up to 120 degree, your first dimension, which is what they call apparently the B. Right, the B dimension will change. The further open, closer it is. So judge that distance where you want to go to. If you're going to do a door that swings out, parallel arm is the most common, by the way. So less crucial to have that horizontal distance, because you can see that there's a range that you're dealing with in terms of the degree of opening. What is crucial, though, is are the vertical dimensions. So where you mount this vertically or the header, and where you mount the arm or the parallel arm bracket is crucial. If you walked through a door opening and you heard a clanking sound on the door, it's probably the arm making contact with the door. You want to make sure that that's all very accurately located. The degree of opening, obviously not so much, but the vertical dimensions, make sure those are accurate. In terms of making sure those are accurate, what I do all the time, if I'm doing, I'll take the time to make a template. If I'm going to do more than 3 door closers, the point of making a template, just a piece of wood that you can square off in the corner of the opening and mark your holes, is then you know that's correct. All the other ones are going to be correct as well. So it's worth taking the time to make that, rather than hand measuring everything. When I mark the holes on the frame, I will mark them. I will then take a center punch and I will tap them so that when I place the drill door, it doesn't walk and move on me. And you'll obviously want to be real careful if there's any glass in the door when you are tapping with the center punch. Pre-drill your holes, continue on with your. Absorb the installation instructions first to make sure that the body, based on what is on the end of the closer, is pointed in the proper direction. Okay, that's not the same in all is. And then when you get it physically installed, begin to test. Get your door closer table back out, and then test the door and make your minor adjustments and cycle the door 3 times before readjusting it. And at that point, you'll be in perfect shape and have a well-installed door closer. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the international door closers that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's, as well as a link to the full product catalog. If you have any questions on the international doors, this is their part number 1805-BC in a dark bronze finish. Their international product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.